And what is a good citizen? Simply one who never says, does, or thinks anything that is unusual. And schools are maintained in order to bring this uniformity up to the highest point. A school is a hopper into which children are heaved while they are still young and tender. Therein they are pressed into certain standard shapes and covered from head to heels with official rubber stamps. And that was said by Henry Louis Mencken. Welcome to Surviving the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maxwell Igan. It's a pleasure to be with you once again, and I will be your host for the next hour. Well, interesting times in the world today, folks, and it just never seems to cease, does it? We still have the situation unfolding in Japan. Very, very difficult to get any information regarding Japan at this present time. All we seem to be getting is the same rehashed and incredibly vague news reports. And meanwhile, we have what is virtually all-out war happening in Libya. Western forces have, of course, as I mentioned last week, imposed a no-fly zone over Libya so that they can fly in, but nobody else can. And they have proceeded to send at least 112 Tomahawk missiles into Libya as well, in order to free the people, of course. This is why they are bombing the hell out of Libya and not simply bombing the hell out of Gaddafi, because they wish to free the people. Of course, the best way to free them, it would appear under Western standards, is to kill them. Very notably, the 112 Tomahawk missiles that have been sent in there. I mean, there's probably actually more by now, but the point is that each one of these missiles actually has a warhead that contains around 40 pounds of depleted uranium. So what they have essentially done is they have pumped over 4,000 pounds of depleted uranium into Libya, thereby subjecting Libya to weapons of mass destruction which will continue to kill indiscriminately for many thousands of years to come. Because that's what depleted uranium does, folks. It's a weapon of mass destruction that kills indiscriminately, and it has a half-life of around 4.5 billion years. So when one is to question the sanity or the insanity of the American, British and French leaders, then it's really an open and shut case, folks, as their willingness to use depleted uranium warheads upon civilians in order to free them is a very clear demonstration of the psychotic nature of the leaders of all of these countries. I mean, folks, let's look at it realistically. You don't go and kill people in order to free them. There is no way you can bring peace to a country by making war upon the country. If you have a problem with the leader of a country because the leader of this country is oppressing and killing his people, you don't go and bomb the country and kill more people in order to free them from being killed by their leader. It's almost like going in there and saying, look, hang on, Mr. Gaddafi, we don't like you killing your people, so we're going to do it for you. And when we're finished, we're going to blame you for it, and we're going to kill you too. That's kind of what it's doing, folks. I mean, let's look at it. I mean, the people in Libya may well be living in a very oppressive regime at the hands of Gaddafi, but you don't go and kill them to free them. It doesn't make sense. Western governments are essentially saying, look, you're using fighter jets and you're shooting at your people. That's not good enough. We're going to go and bomb them and shoot Tomahawk missiles into the midst of them. If you have a problem with Gaddafi, you go after Gaddafi. You don't bomb the civilians of the country, and you especially don't bomb the country with depleted uranium. Because by doing so, all you are doing is unleashing a weapon of mass destruction upon the people, which will kill thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it will continue doing so for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. By doing what is being done to Libya at this present time by Western forces, regardless of whether Gaddafi is oppressing his people or not, the leaders of all the countries involved, and even the UN countries who support it, are carrying out what is essentially an act of environmental vandalism and mass murder that will stain the earth for centuries to come. And it's simply not acceptable, regardless of what your political opinion is of this situation. The fact that these rulers are unleashing this stuff on the world. I mean, who the hell do these people think they are? Mr. Obama, who the hell do you think you are? And the President of France, the Prime Minister of England. I mean, who the hell do these three dickheads think they are? Honestly, folks. How do they think that they have the right to pollute the earth in this manner and kill thousands and thousands upon thousands of people for generations to come in the name of protecting anything? These people are obviously lunatics, folks. They are completely and utterly insane, and they should be removed from office immediately, and so should anybody who supports them. This is not the government that we employ to act in our best interests. And not only do these people fail to act in our best interests, they fail to act in the best interest of the planet. In fact, they seem to go all out as much as they can to destroy the very fabric of this planet and to destroy the human race completely. Because all of this releasing of depleted uranium around the world in all of these wars, this is going global, folks. The whole planet is becoming contaminated with depleted uranium because of the actions of these psychopathic lunatics that we have running our countries. And it's time we fixed it, folks, because it's up to us. We are the custodians of freedom in the world today. Don't look to the government. The government isn't going to save you. America and the Western forces aren't going to save Libya. In fact, they're going to destroy Libya. And this is being done by the same corporate cartel that is running the rest of the planet, folks. This corporate cartel has control over all of our countries via the government. And so we need to institute honest government. We need to rout out this corporate control, this fake monetary system, and this need to pollute and destroy the earth. We need to rout this out of government, folks. We need to institute honest governments. And it's time that the people stood up and did it. It really is. And the police really need to wake up to themselves and come to the party on this as well, because they have to live on this planet too. And they're not going to have a planet to live on if they allow their governments to continue along the psychotic path that they are currently treading. And that's exactly what it is, folks. There's no other way you can view the decisions that are made by these leaders. Well, the decisions that are presented to them and that they carry out. I don't personally believe any of our leaders actually make any decisions for themselves. Well, it certainly doesn't seem that way anyway. It seems like the decisions are made by those who control all of our leaders. But they use our leaders to influence the government, and they use the government to influence the people and the global situation. So that's why we, the people, need to institute honest government. It would be a lot better this way, folks, because I've never met anyone from any nation who actually wanted a war. The ones who want wars are only ever the bankers and the leaders. So when these people declare a war, we should simply not show up, folks. They can throw their war, but if nobody comes, then there's not much they can do about it. I mean, everything that's going on in the world today, it can just be overwhelming when you look at it. It truly can. If you're a feeling, caring person, then often all you have to do to reduce yourself to a state of tears is to pick up a newspaper and truly look and see the injustice and the inhumanity that man is prepared to carry out against man, and to realize that the source of every single problem that we face in the world today is mankind himself. We are and have always been the source of every problem this earth has ever faced. I mean, sure, we get earthquakes and volcanoes and the occasional meteor impact, but the earth recovers from that more than what it recovers from what we do. The earth simply adjusts to the change. Yet even with earthquakes and whatever, we simply perceive these things as disasters because of what they do to us. We don't really care about what they do to the earth. We don't care about what we do to the earth. We only really care about what happens to us. And yet we treat the rest of reality, I mean, as a species in general, and I'm very much generalizing here, but we treat the rest of reality as if it is all there for us. and we can do exactly what we want to it. But if anything in reality ever hurts any of us, we see it as this terrible disaster. It's a very interesting dynamic and a very interesting observation when you truly understand what man's place in reality is, and then you look at the way we attach values to things and what we attach our values to. Personally, what I believe we should attach value to, well, I believe we should attach value to life itself. I believe that we should attach value to the experience, and we should attach this value in all of life's experiences. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was explaining to them that everything in their life is perfect. Everything that's happening in the world is perfect. And this may seem like a strange thing to say, but it's all perfect because it's the experience that we are supposed to experience. Each of us is supposed to experience everything that we do experience. And through this experience, we get offered choices all the way through it. We get offered opportunities to choose one path over another path. And the experience that we have is wholly dependent upon the choices that we make. And there may seem to be outside interference with this at times, but if you really trace it back, usually you find that even if there was an outside influence to any particular event, it's very often a series of choices made beforehand that brought you to that point anyway. So ultimately, it usually comes down to a choice that we made for ourselves somewhere along the line. And you can put this on a broader stage and look at it from a broader perspective as well. Because when you look at all of the problems that we face in the world, from the things that our governments do and from the failure of humanity itself to address the corruption and the insanity of our governments, this is happening because of a choice, again, that we made. Because what society has done collectively, and I'm generalizing again here, but our entire social structure and the citizens within this social structure have chosen fear instead of love. We've chosen fear of the guys across the water, the guys behind the other fence, and we've chosen fear of our governments. We've chosen fear of each other and fear of ever facing ourselves. We seem to have this great fear of everything around us. We're totally caught up in this fictional system. We run around chasing paper all day in order to pay to live here on this planet, and we destroy the planet in order to gain this paper so that we can pay to be here. It's a pretty bizarre sort of a setup, but that's a lot of what's going on. And the way all this is run is through the mechanism of government. And I'm not saying we don't need government. What I'm saying is that we need honest government, because government as it exists in its current form today are simply mechanisms that are there to promote statism and to promote division and to enslave the population of each specific country to a system of debt.